Hi there, welcome to the tutorial on unit conversion. And what I'm talking about is when you want to convert something like kilometers to centimeters or other measurements. So most of you in junior school or elementary school learned about the saying, which doesn't sound very nice, but in any case, King Henry died, mother didn't care much. These letters stand for the prefix of these words. So this means kilometers or kilometers, hectometers, decameters, meters, decimeters, centimeters, and millimeters. This is the root right here. If my root was liters, then this would be kiloliters, which we don't use much, hectoliters, decaliters, deciliters, well, there's your liters, deciliters, centiliters, and milliliters. I think if you look at this, the most common that you use are, well, actually, let's do another one first. Let's look at grams. Let's make this grams, so kilograms, hectograms, decagrams, grams, decigrams, centigrams, and milligrams. Okay, this, by the way, is kilo for kilogram, hecta for hectogram, deca for decagram, nothing here, decigram, centigram or centiliter or centimeter, and milli means 1,000. Okay, so those are the prefix. Those are the letters go before the word. Okay, so if you look at these, the most common that you're probably used to seeing are kilometers or kilometers, meters, centimeters, millimeters, milliliters, liters, kilograms, grams, milligrams. Depending on what else you do, you might know a few of the others, but for the most part, these are the ones that are common, yet the others do exist. Okay, so what happens here is in between, there's a factor of 10 between each of these. If I look at centimeters and millimeters, I think most of you can tell me that there are 10 centimeters, excuse me, 10 millimeters. Let's get rid of this. There are 10 millimeters, so 10 millimeters equals 1 centimeter. If you look at your ruler, you can see that. The other one that you can see quite easily is 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. If you haven't looked at a meter stick recently, take a look and you'll see the centimeters goes up to 100. So in other words, and like I said, this is review, to go from centimeters to millimeters, you multiply by 10. And that's the same factor for all of these, multiply by 10. Now, when you go the other way, from millimeters to centimeters, you would divide by 10. That makes sense. So if I have, to give you an example here, if I have 50 millimeters and I want to know how many centimeters we have, I'm going from millimeters to centimeters, I would divide by 10. When you divide by 10, you remember, you move the decimal place once to the left. So this is 5 centimeters, which makes sense. If 10 millimeters equals 1 centimeter, 50 millimeters equals 5 centimeters. And this works the whole way along. Everything has a factor of 10. Now, one thing to remember is if you're dividing by 10 3 times, that is the same as, or multiplying by 3 times, it's the same as multiplying by 1,000, not by 30. So, let's do a couple of examples here. In fact, we can do a couple of examples. This is exactly the same as what I just did. So it gives you the whole tree. So let's take a look here. Let's take a look at this one. If I had 7 kilometers and I want to know how many meters that is, I'll go up here and I'll say, okay, I'm starting with kilometers. You can draw all over this on your own and then erase them as you go. And I'm going to meters, which is right here. So I'm going to multiply by 10 once to get to hectometers, twice to get to decameters, one more time to get to meters. So I'm going to multiply by 10 3 times, which is the same as multiplying by 1,000. So I move the decimal place once for each 10. So 1, 2, 3. There are also 3 zeros there. So my decimal place on any integer is just to the right. So if this is my integer, it's right here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 places. Now there's nothing here, so I fill in the zeros. 2, 3. My decimal place is still at the end, so I would have 7,000 meters. Okay? Let's do one where we go from centimeter, let's go from centimeters to hectometers. Let's take a look at this one. We'll do this one in green. Okay? So for this one, we're going from centimeters, right here, to hectometers. So now we're going to divide by 10. We're going to divide by 10 once, that's one decimal place to the left, twice, 3 times, 4 decimal places to the left because I'm dividing by 10 4 times. So my decimal starts here and I go 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places. That's where I put it. I have to fill in these zeros. So this is decimal 0, 0, 0, 2. Okay? In this case, the decimal starts right here. You have to include the 2576. Okay, a couple of things that came up, that might come up with this. When you are, right here, when you are dividing by a decimal, right here, here's a good one. If you're dividing by a decimal like this, okay, think of it like this. Some people don't know which way the decimal should go. So you have 0.05 divided by 0.01. Don't memorize which way and how many places. Just think of it like this. You know that this is the same as 0.05 divided by, write this as a fraction. This is the tenths place, 1/100th. So this is really 0.05 divided by 1/100th. You also know that when you divide fractions, you write the first fraction. Any number is a fraction. It has a denominator of 1. And you multiply it by the reciprocal of the fraction. So now what you have is 0.05 times 100. 0.5 times 100, which is, you move the decimal 2 places here because I'm multiplying by 100. Multiply by 10, multiply by 100. My answer equals 5. Okay? What some people like to try and remember is if they're dividing by a decimal, they include this 0 here and they say, well, if you look at it in reverse, it's 100. Don't memorize it like that, but if it helps you to remember a little bit. Okay? The same thing is when you are doing 0.24 times 0.001. We'll go down here. 0.24 times 0.0001. This is the same as 0.24 times, let's write this as a fraction. This is tenths, hundredths. Whoops, I have too many zeros on there. We'll just fix that. So this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So you're multiplying this by 1/1000th. Okay? Which means, now you know how to multiply fractions. You multiply numerator times numerator. So this is 0.24. And denominator by denominator. So this is 1,000. Now you know that for a final answer you cannot leave a decimal in the fraction. So you have to look at it and how to simplify it. So if you divide numerator and denominator by 1,000, then you'll end up with an integer. So when I divide by 1,000, I move the decimal to the left 3 times. 1, 2, 3 times. So I have to fill in these 2 zeros, and my answer is 0.00024. Notice that my decimal has moved. It's no longer here. So there's your answer. 0.00024. You have to squish that in. Okay? Well, I wish you luck on the rest of these worksheets. Work together, help each other, and enjoy.